The thing I love most about stir fries is how quick they are and of course how versatile. You can use up pretty much anything you've got. Use up stuff you have left over in the fridge, get a delicious mix of vegetables, a nice protein, a carb such as noodles or rice. We're going to be making pepper beef stir fry in this one, so let's get straight into it. We'll start off in order of the ingredients added in this recipe. We're going to need 1 brown or yellow onion. Top and tail this, slice it in half, just remove all of the skins, you can save them for a stock. And then just slice this in the half moon position the whole way across, slicing them the same size thickness, that way they'll all cook at the same time. We're then going to need 1 red or green bell pepper, depending on what you need to use, and you can use up stuff in your fridge as well. Just slice around the core, this is the easiest way to cut it. Make sure you trim off the bottom just so you're not wasting anything. Tap out any seeds, remove any pith, and then just slice these into thin, even sized strips. We're then going to need 120 grams of snow peas, they're also known as monge too. What we're going to do is snap off the stem and then just gently peel down the spine to remove that rubbery part. It can be a bit chewy, so it is best to remove these, and you should have something that looks like this. Then we're going to need 1 red chili. This is completely optional. If you don't like heat, don't use it. But if you are going to use it, just slice it into thin strips. Another optional ingredient is 10 grams of coriander or cilantro. Again, you don't have to use this if you don't like it. I know some people like to think it tastes like soap, but we're going to roughly chop this. Just make sure there's no large leaves or stems, and this is going to be used in our rice. For the sauce, we're going to need 3 cloves of garlic and 10 grams of peeled ginger. Run both of these along a microplane to create a paste, and then make sure you scrape it all out of there, getting in all those nooks and crannies just so you don't waste anything. For the protein, I'm using eye fillet, also known as filet for Americans. This right here is 400 grams. It's a very underworked part of the cow, hence it being extremely tender, very little muscle tissue, and it's really, really lean. We're going to slice this across the grain to break up those muscle fibers, just slicing them into small, even-sized strips. If they are a little bit too big, you can also slice them in half lengthways. What I'm doing now is completely optional. I'm adding 4 grams of whole peppercorns to a mortar and pestle. Just going to break this up, making sure it's a nice fine powder with a little bit of coarseness to it. If you don't have one of these, don't worry, you can just use a pepper grinder. It's completely up to you. And you can also toast these as well beforehand, just to get a little bit of more of enhanced flavor. Again, it's completely up to you. With the beef, we're then going to season it with salt and 2 grams of that crushed pepper that we just did before. Just go easy on the salt because the sauce does have sodium in it and we don't want this to be overpowering. Once you have that on, just massage that seasoning into the beef. Just be gentle because this can break apart. Now to make the sauce, we're going to add in 20 milliliters of regular soy sauce and 20 milliliters of dark soy sauce. 25 milliliters of Shaoxing wine. It is alcohol, so I'll leave substitutes in the description. 30 milliliters of oyster sauce. If you don't want that, you can also use hoisin. The garlic and ginger paste, 100 milliliters of beef or chicken stock, or even water as a worst case scenario to mellow it out. Add in the remaining crushed peppercorns, as well as 6 grams of cornstarch or corn flour for a thickening agent. Then get in there with a whisk and just break this all apart, making sure everything is evenly combined. Now I'm making rice for this recipe. You can also use noodles, so if you do that, just completely skip this step. Place a saucepan over a high heat, add in 200 grams of washed jasmine rice, along with 375 milliliters of cold water, and a nice big pinch of salt. Then we can mix this around with a spoon just to prevent any clumps from forming, and we're going to bring this up to a boil. Then once it is at a boil, just reduce the heat to low, place on a lid, and let this cook for about 12 minutes undisturbed. In the meantime, we'll place a wok over a high heat, get this up to a smoking point, then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons or 40 milliliters of peanut oil. You can also use vegetable oil if you are allergic to peanuts. Once the wok's nice and hot, slide in that beef. You might have to do this in batches depending on the size of your wok. And we're going to cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes just to get a nice browning all over. I'm only going to cook this until it is only just cooked. We don't want to overcook this, and also be a little bit gentle, then remove and set aside. Place the wok back over a high heat, add in another 1 tablespoon of peanut oil or vegetable oil depending on allergies, add in the onions as well as the bell peppers or capsicums, and we're going to stir fry these for about 3 to 4 minutes, just getting beautiful color on them. We don't want them to be completely cooked through, we want them to be al dente and not complete mush. Also, we want to pick up a beautiful charring flavor which picks up a fantastic smoky flavor within those bell peppers. Next to go in is the snow peas or the monge too, depending on where you're from. We're going to continue stir frying this for about 1 to 1.5 minutes just to get that flavor in there, get a little bit of color, and again, we don't want to cook these too much because we don't want them to completely fall apart. Also, we're not adding any seasoning because we are going to be adding in that sauce that contains pepper and a lot of sodium as well. Just add all of that in, make sure you give it a little whisk beforehand just to break up that corn flour or cornstarch. Cook this for about 1 to 1.5 minutes until nice and thick.
Then we can add in that beef, any resting juices as well for extra flavor, and just fold all of this through. Cook it for 1 more minute just to get that flavor in there, for those flavors to become friends. It looks beautiful, it smells fantastic, and then we can remove this from the stovetop. Going back to the rice, this has been cooking for 12 minutes. We're going to turn it off the heat, but leave the lid on for another 6 minutes to continue steaming. Then we're going to remove the lid, be careful of any escaping steam. Fluff this up with a fork or spatula, and if you can see on camera, there's nothing stuck to the bottom of the pan. This rice is absolutely perfect. Add in the coriander or cilantro if you wanted to use it. Fold this all through nice and gently. We don't want to break up the rice too much. Then we can remove this from the heat and just add this into a bowl or serving plate, depending on how many people you want to serve this to. And this recipe should serve 2 to 3 people. I'm also doing the exact same thing with the stir fry. Just add it all into one bowl. If you want to put this on the table and have everyone just share from it, it's completely fine. Garnish it with the chili if you wanted to use that, and you can also add some coriander or cilantro as well for a little bit of color. But what we're left with is that beautiful coriander rice and this absolutely fantastic pepper beef stir fry. It looks and smells incredible.
With everything out the way though, there is only one thing left to do, and that is, of course, we can then dig in. The thing I love most about this recipe is the smoky flavor that's in those bell peppers or capsicums that we fried off with the onions. Adds fantastic aroma as well to this dish, and all of those vegetables have a little bit of crunch on them. They're al dente. We don't want everything falling apart and turning into mush. The rice is beautiful, it's soft and fluffy, goes perfect with that smoky sauce, and it's a little bit salty as well, but it's not too overpowering. And that pepper is delicious as well. Again, not overpowering, it just adds that slight little ting on the tongue. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, helps me out more than you believe. Consider subscribing along with hitting the bell notification next to it so you never miss when I upload, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.